Today I'm going to discuss with you a moment of wonder that I first encountered when I was in middle school. There was a gym teacher at my middle school who had two different colored eyes, and everyone was always talking about how cool it was. Being a total science nerd, I was interested in the genetics behind the two different colored eyes. This phenomenon is called heterochromia iridium. Hetero meaning different, chrome having to do with color, and iridium having to do with the iris. There are actually three different types of heterochromia. The first is complete heterochromia. This is most noticeable and is shown by people having two completely different colored eyes. The second is partial heterochromia, where a small portion of the eye has a different color from the rest. The third, and most commonly seen, is central heterochromia, where the color around the pupil is different from the rest of the color of the eye. This phenomenon is something that we are not used to seeing every day. It is unique. The normal concept of eye color to us is having two eyes that are the same color. This concept doesn't fit into our ideas of she has blue eyes, or he has brown eyes, or I have green eyes. It challenges the way we feel eye color is supposed to work. So, how do we get our eye color? Let's start with the basics. The color we have is inherited from our parents. Some eye colors overpower others when our parents' genes mix together to give us our unique shade. The eye color differences are caused by different amounts of a pigment called melanin within compartments called melanosomes in the melanocyte cells of the iris. Less melanosomes leads to a lighter color, while more melanosomes leads to a darker color. What is really interesting is that scientists have found over 8 genes to be responsible for controlling the amount of the melanin within the iris cells. So then how do we get two colors? There are actually quite a few things that can lead to the development of heterochromia iridium. One is that a mutation occurs in the eye color genes before birth. It can also be inherited or passed on from a parent to the child. Color differences can also be caused by injury to the eye and even certain medications or cosmetics. Finally, two different eye colors can be caused by a number of diseases, such as Waardenburg syndrome type 1 or Horner's syndrome. Heterochromia best fits into the genetics unit in my biology class. I could discuss this in relation to inheritance of traits, specifically polygenic inheritance, where multiple genes are in control of a single trait. We could even then discuss the implication of a single trait being controlled by many different genes. I could also pull this into Punnett squares, where we show possible characteristics children can have based on their parents' characteristics. I could also fit this phenomenon in with our discussions on mutations and genetic disorders. One theory I could easily use to teach heterochromia would be through cognitivism. This theory allows learners to organize information by relating it to what they have previously learned and apply it to appropriate situations. My students would then be able to tie heterochromia to their pre-existing schemata about mutations, inheritance of traits, and genetic disorders, and then even extend this knowledge to make new conclusions. Another theory I could use to teach heterochromia would be discovery learning. I could create an inquiry-based research activity using the topic. For these types of inquiry exercises, as the teacher, I need to withhold some information from my students to allow them to search for the missing pieces. I could start a lesson by showing students a picture of a person with heterochromia iridium, and then ask my students why this may happen to some people. Students from there could then make a hypothesis using their previous knowledge and research possible conclusions. Some groups will come to different conclusions, but that is part of the learning process in discovery learning. We can then discuss conclusions with classmates to compare our findings.